Sandra Goins. Sandra Goins.
Don't worry, let's see. Good evening. My name is Sandra Goheen, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you again. This is my second time addressing this body regarding repaving of Mulder Street, Haven, and Crestline Drive. First of all, I want to congratulate you on the extensive repaving of various streets throughout Lemon Grove. It is very nice to see the improvements. Congratulations. However, 90+% of the residents of Mulder Street, Haven, and Crestline Drive who signed the petition that I circulated and presented to the mayor are still awaiting any improvement to our streets. I'm here today to implore the council one more time to repave these 3 streets. Although we have a minimum of vehicular traffic on these streets, there is a great deal of pedestrian traffic on them. It is my earnest concern that someone could be seriously hurt if he or she tripped or fell while walking thereon. I am also concerned about any legal action such injury might create for the city because of their deliberate negligence. Therefore, I appeal to the council that they make repaving Mulder Street, Haven, and Crestline a priority. Thank you for your kind attention, and I sincerely hope that you will take appropriate and much needed action on this request.
Thank you so very much. And I think that there's an opportunity here to provide some good information to you right now regarding paving of streets throughout the city of Lemon Grove. And so I'm going to turn this over to the city manager regarding the upcoming workshop that is planned. We had one workshop last year regarding paving of our streets. There will be a part 2, and so if you could just briefly give a summary of that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council members. What the Mayor is referring to is we are looking at scheduling our Complete Streets workshop. We've got a tentative date scheduled for March 5th. I have to confer with all of the elected officials' calendars to ensure that they can make it. But we also are in the midst of doing our pavement management program update and looking at traffic circulation as well. So that will be coming to a future agenda for the council to consider and then formally adopt, which will be our plan for the next 5 years for street treatment. Mr. James, do you have anything else to add?
Thank you so very much. Next, we have Teresa Rosia Carpet.
Thank you, Ms. Sandra. I hope you find that information helpful.
Council member, you are out of order. This is the time for public comment, not the time for council members to speak.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council officials. Concerned residents come before you meeting after meeting, asking you to agendize important issues that affect their lives. Yet we do not see the items agendized. And please do something immediately about this. Tonight, since we are on Facebook Live, I bring you important information about Jerry Jones. Previously, Jerry told a group of us that he needed to keep his council position because he needed the health insurance. Well, the time has come, Jerry, for you to pass the torch to a new city council person, as your position is more than just about having health insurance. I have been informed by many residents that you do not reply to emails unless they are your close friends or supporters. And I know this to be the case firsthand. In the past 2 years, I have seen you at 3 events, and our community and the residents deserve better than that. Let's take a walk down memory lane back to 2018, when you violated Marcus Bush's First Amendment rights. And thanks to you and the city manager, Lydia Romero, $15,000 was paid because of both of your actions. We need new leadership, and we need it now. Pass the torch for heaven's sake, for the sake of our community and the sake of our residents, Jerry. I would like to see and ask that the promenade bathrooms be put on the agenda for a collaboration between MTS, Lemon Grove Improvement Council, and the city, so that dignity can be given to the homeless of Lemon Grove by having the bathrooms open for limited hours. Come together with the volunteers in the community so that we can better Lemon Grove and not just give us lip service. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Next we have Donnell Wood.
Thank you, Ms. Rosiak.
Councilmember LeBaron, you are out of order. I'm asking you to respect the time of the folks who are speaking, and this is not the time for council members to speak. So you are out of order. And so I'm turning this over to Donna Wood. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, you're way out of line, and it's human decency to say thank you to
At
people
this
when they
point-
leave a comment.
At this point, we're going to take a recess because the council member is out of order. And this is a business meeting. And the goal is to get the business done of the city.
Ma'am, you're wasting
So
taxpayer time.
We'll take a 5-minute break. Thank you.
You're wasting residents' time with your childish behavior. You're a person who is in charge of running an effective meeting, and by telling somebody that they can't tell somebody thank you for spending a couple minutes of their time giving their public comment, that's completely out of line, Madam Mayor. And I find it very hard to believe that anybody sitting here in the audience or watching this video is going to disagree with what I just said. You probably should reflect on the way that you're running these meetings, because it's quite childish, and it's a waste of taxpayer time. You're making all of these people wait unnecessarily.
You were talking out of order yourself, and she didn't call you out for it.
That's because he's special.
Will be shared by Donna Wood. I want to make it very clear that this is a business meeting. There are rules and guidelines that are established that govern the way that council members operate, but also the public. And I'm going to refer to Lemon Grove Municipal Code 2.14.160. And that's the rule of the quorum enforcement. And what it indicates here is that while the city council is in session, all persons must preserve the order and the quorum of the session. A council member may not delay or interrupt the proceedings or the peace of the city council, disrupt any council member while speaking, or refuse to obey the orders of the city council or the mayor, except as otherwise provided in the chapter.
Madam Mayor, do you have an issue with people saying thank you to their constituents?
We will have to take another break, as the council member is out of order. She's talking over the presiding officer.
As a council member, I appreciate the opportunity that you're giving the community to see your form of leadership. And how a council member wanting to say thank you to a constituent becomes an issue that holds up a meeting. And truly, the only person holding up these meetings and holding up the city from doing its business are the four of you council members who think that this kind of childish leadership behavior is acceptable. Quite frankly, there's an election this year, and people are going to hold you all accountable because we're raising the bar in this city. Because as we look outside and we see that our city is in dire need of great leadership, people's votes are going to reflect that. And as you can all feel, there's no one on your side who thinks that it's okay to behave in a tyrannical, anti-democratic way. And to tell people that it's not okay for a council member to say thank you to a constituent who has taken their time to come and share their opinions and their views with the people who they elected to do a job for them. It's time in Lemon Grove, we as council members and as leaders listen to the public, because for many years, that has not happened. And if my crime as a council member is saying thank you for your comment to a person from the public, I am completely guilty of that. And I really don't think anybody holds that against me, except for the four of you whose incompetence and lack of leadership is on full display at every single city council meeting.
Go ahead.
Which are the rules of the quorum enforcement that indicate any person who disrupts or impedes the orderly conduct of a city council meeting by making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, by becoming boisterous while addressing the city council, or by engaging in any other disorderly conduct will be immediately barred from further audience before the session of the city council by the mayor unless permission to continue is granted by a majority vote. Any person who disrupts or impedes the orderly conduct of a city council meeting by acting in a disorderly, contemptuous, or insolent manner towards or by becoming boisterous while addressing the city council, a council member or staff member is subject to a criminal penalty of this code. Any person who fails on demand of the mayor to comply with any lawful order is subject to the criminal penalties of this code. The city manager may designate one or more appropriate persons to act as the sergeants at arms to carry out all orders and instructions given by the mayor for the purpose of maintaining order and decorum at the city council meeting. Upon instruction of the mayor, it is the duty of the sergeant at arms to place any person who violates the orders and decorum of the meeting under arrest and cause the person to be prosecuted under this code. The complaint must be signed by the mayor or other appropriate persons who are present. And so I just wanted to make everyone know that there is a code regarding how these city council meetings run. This is not new. And so this is the time and the place to allow the public to share their comments, whatever those comments may be. And so now, and it's not time for council members to disrupt or to become disorderly and to be out of order. So I'll turn this over to John Wood.
John L. Wood. I've been here since January 13th, 1987. I've been to a multitude of city council meetings. I've gone to planning commission meetings. I've gone to MPS meetings. I've gone to water district meetings. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. This is the worst city council I've ever seen. And I've been here under every mayor this city has had. Anyway, I would like to know why a special meeting was not had for direction on how to vote January 10th at Sandag. How many meetings has the mayor had the alternate go to Sandag? I'd also like to know when the lines will be painted at College Place and Federal Boulevard. I called on Thursday, and because there were no lines yet. Friday morning, I went down to College Place and Federal Boulevard, and they were lined out with spray paint. They still haven't been painted. The job was done in January. It's still not done. That's part of the job. I noticed today, since I got a ride down Lemon Grove, whatever you want to call it, Broadway, that there were painted spray paint lines down Broadway since they slurry sealed it. I know they didn't pave it because they don't pave anything. They just slurry seal everything. And I would suggest that the city put up a sign down at the large yellow curb at Larry Miller's Toyota for auto carriers only parking, because they aren't legally able to park in the continuous left turn lane. The continuous left turn lane is for left turns only. It's not a passing lane, it's not a parking lane. I know we don't have anybody to enforce or give tickets for that kind of stuff.
Thank you so very
Goodbye.
much. And so, let me be clear about the committees and the boards that we serve on. There are primaries and alternates, and when a primary is unable to attend, it is the responsibility of the primary to contact the alternate to attend. What I know is that Lemon Grove is well represented at Sandag, and our seat is always full. It's filled with a representative from this council. If it is not me, it is Councilmember Mendoza, and if Councilmember Mendoza is unavailable, it is Councilmember George Gaston. So we are represented very well. But you know what? I see that Sandag is a topic of interest. Just so that you know, since December, I requested that Sandag come to Lemon Grove to do a presentation. And so Sandag will be here they'll be here at our first meeting in March to answer any questions that you have about San Diego Forward or transportation throughout San Diego. So I just wanted to make that very clear. The process has not changed, and it's been that way long before I became mayor, to have the primary and backups. And truly, it is the responsibility of the primary to make sure that Lemon Grove's voice is echoed at regional boards and commissions. That way, our voices are heard. So I'm moving on now to Jessica Heredia.
Hello, my name is Jessica Heredia, and I'm here to advocate for our youth. I'd like to see the city do a better job of putting our youth first. A few ways that I'd like to see that happen is safer streets, like Vision Zero plan. It would be really helpful if we could get some traffic calming issues on the agenda and dealt with. I heard about your workshop. I'll for sure be looking into that and seeing what it will entail. I think that we need to work better at getting city-sponsored and city-funded access to the rec center. The rec center has been closed to the public for the last 12 years. And last summer, Jennifer Mendoza gave her commitment to help agendize that. And we were hoping to see that last year come to happen. I'm reaching out to hope that you will honor that still and help to agendize that, because we need youth sports. I currently help organize some free programs at the rec center, like the run club and fun runs. I'm in the works now with a pickleball league and hopefully a softball clinic. And it would be great if the city would like to come together to help make that happen. And the first step is to agendize it. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Next, we have Victor Vega.
Thank you, Jessica.
City council members, and city manager, last week I came before you in regards to the litigation you held behind closed doors. I requested the answer to the questions in regards to the litigation, as to whom this litigation was against and how much it was costing the city of Lemon Grove. You refused to answer, saying that you were protecting the city from further litigation or further possible litigation. I understand that you can't answer certain questions, or certain questions you can answer, like how much is this costing the city? I never got a response from you guys. The residents of Lemon Grove, now 2 residents, have been asking you to put on the agenda the item for the rec center. You guys haven't even considered it as far as I'm concerned, because you have done nothing about it. This debate for the rec center has been going on since last year, August 2021, it's been going on, and you have done nothing about it. I'm asking you to do something about 3202 New Jersey Avenue. That's where the new construction for the department is supposed to begin. Now it's being used as a drug den, a homeless encampment. There's trash everywhere, they knock down the fence constantly, and nobody does anything about it. This goes the same thing for 7387 Broadway. That's the Lemon Grove mortuary that used to be there. But now I'm going to ask you to put on the agenda that we hold a forensic audit for the city finances of Lemon Grove. But I'm going to assume that just like the items I mentioned above, I'll get no response, and you guys are going to do nothing about it. When the people of Lemon Grove are not being heard by the city council members, and they don't do the will of the residents of this city, it is no longer a democracy. It is an autocracy. An autocracy is the PCP, Chinese Communist Party, or Russia, where only one person or only a certain limited amount of persons rule. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the USSR or China, this is the United States of America. The city council is supposed to do what the people of Lemon Grove requested to do. And you guys are not doing that. You guys are doing what you guys feel like doing. And that is an autocracy. Members of the council, city attorney, I ask that you guys step down so that the people in the city of Lemon Grove will prosper. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Just so that you know, it used to be called a CAFR, but now it's the ACFR, which is an independent look at the city financials, but also the city financials health. And we have been reviewed And our financial health is good. It can be better, but it's good. We've come a long way, but there's so much more work to do. What I'd like to do here, because there are some claims that have been made here that are unsubstantiated. And I say that because if you look at the document that I just mentioned, but also the budget, it discloses the financial health of the city. Everything is posted on the city website, and we are transparent. So I will check in with staff here to see if there's anything that can be shared now. And if not, I will request that staff follow up with the individual, with Victor.
Madam Mayor, I'm not gonna lie, you just speak power to lies. And actually, the only unsubstantiated thing here is your claim that our city's financial health is well.
You are out.
We can't afford police officers to patrol our streets adequately. We can't afford to reopen the rec center for our youth and our families. We can't afford to repair our streets for our people so that they're not getting hurt and killed on these streets. Yet you have the audacity to sit here and say that our financial health is well. Well, I'm gonna let the public know something, and this is very powerful. I want you guys all to lean in.
Another break, thank you.
Our financial audits that the mayor says prove that our city is in financial health. For one, our common sense tells us that that's not true. For two, the financial auditors themselves say in their disclosures that they are not here to rate the financial health of our city. They are also not here to find out if there is fraud, embezzlement, or waste going on. That is per the disclosures that the financial auditors make themselves. Don't take my words, folks. Read the audit yourselves. It's posted online. Like politicians always want to do, they want to lie, they want to mislead, they want to make us think that things are better than what they are, instead of having the courage to face the reality that our city is not well.
Lydia.
We have things that are closed because the processes at City Hall are broken. We have people who say that they feel they're being extorted
Councilmember
in working with the city. Business owners that say that they can't open because they feel like they're being extorted and that they're working with the mafia. These are not my words, folks. These are the words of business owners who go to bid meetings and say this.
Speaking over the presiding officer without being recognized. You are
Like our resident said, this is not a democracy in Lemon Grove. This is an autocracy where there's 4 council members who routinely want to pretend that we're too dumb and too ignorant to know that our city is not doing well.
And all of this that you're doing right now is inappropriate. And the personal.
Ma'am, what I'm doing right now is I'm being an activist. I'm speaking up for the people of this city, something that you don't have the courage to do.
You're being a
A
liar.
meeting.
You're being a liar.
This is a business meeting. And if you are not here to do the business of the city.
Ma'am, I was elected to do the business of the city, and that's to speak up for them. It's not to make up lies, steer a narrative that makes city staff and yourselves as politicians look like you're doing a job that you're not.
At this time, we're gonna take that break. It'll be a 5-minute break, thank you.
As you're noticing, you can call as many breaks as you need, and there's absolutely nothing that you or any of these council members or anyone can do that's gonna silence me as somebody who's a political insider who's able to see exactly what it is that we're doing with taxpayers' money from saying what's happening. There's nothing you're gonna do that's going to stop me from doing that. And to answer your question, Victor Vega, about what was discussed in closed session, the litigation, after I started asking questions about how your taxpayer dollars are being spent, and after I started asking for receipts, invoices, work logs that justify what city staff is saying our money's going, where our money's going, after I started inquiring about things, these 4 council members swiftly went into closed session to vote to investigate me. The lone council member who is trying to do their job to uphold a moral and legal obligation to be a watchdog for the taxpayers of this city. That's exactly what's going on, Mr. Vega. For Further than that, I don't know what's happening because this is all happening behind closed doors, like you pointed out.
Thank you, ma'am.
Exactly.
Turn this over to our city attorney to go on the record.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to take a moment to remind the council that the Brown Act requires anything that we discuss tonight be agendized. And while vigorous discussion and even argument is okay, it is a Brown Act violation to go beyond the scope of what is agendized. And so I would encourage you all to remain within the scope of the agenda going forward. I would also note that a recess, the purpose of a recess, is to calm things down, not to amp things up. And so I would encourage the council to take advantage of that time during a recess to calm things down as opposed to amping things up. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We're going to move on to our consent calendar. And we have set aside items 1B, D, and E. And with that said, do we have approval of the consent calendar?
I move approval.
We have a first and a second on the record. Nicola, please take the roll.
Councilmember Gaskell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones, Councilmember LeBaron, Councilmember LeBaron, aye. Councilmember Mendoza,
Aye.
and Mayor Vasquez.
Aye.
5-0 to approve the consent calendar items 1A and 1C.
Thank you so very much. Item number 2 is the lease agreement with the Urban League of San Diego County. And so I'll turn this over to Lydia Romero, who is our city manager, to present the report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council members. Tonight, we're here to discuss a potential lease agreement with the Urban League of San Diego County, an organization that has been around since 1953. In line with council priorities, a potential partnership with the Urban League to bring their youth and community programs such as Project Ready, vaccination outreach, young professional guild meetings, and many more is on the docket tonight. These programs will be offered free to the residents and youth in attendance. The lease agreement is for the community center and the recreation center. And we would schedule them in between other programming that we have at both of the sites. The city, this is a pilot program for the city and the Urban League to ensure that it works for both entities, both our community and their entity as well. And present in the audience, sitting there in front, is the Chief Operating Officer, Al Abdul. And again, the recommendation, next slide. The recommendation is to adopt the resolution approving the lease agreement with the Urban League of San Diego County. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so very much. I'd like to check in with our city clerk to see if we have any speaker slips regarding this particular agenda item. Thank you. And so I'll call up Jessica Heredia.
Hello, my name is Jessica Heredia again, and I did go over the agenda item on the full agenda packet. And from what I understand is that you're gonna lease this for free, with the agreement that they're gonna give you these programs. I don't see where any of it is actually like sports related or arts related or performing arts related. We need these kinds of programs at the rec center, and we've been begging you for access. It's kind of a slap in the face to just give away the time you have when we're trying to get the time. And we've been doing it for months up here, and then you bring this in. and you're gonna give it away. What are we doing? You're not servicing the youth here at all. We need these programs so that our kids stay off the street, so they're not doing drugs, so they're not in gangs, they're not being sex trafficked. Rec centers are happening all over in other cities. There's no good reason why we can't have it here. You always say we don't have enough money. Well, we're never gonna get enough money if you're gonna give it all away.
Thank you so very much, and with that said, I will turn this back over to Lydia to provide clarity.
Again, this is a pilot program, and the Urban League of San Diego County has a variety of programs. And maybe I would ask Mr. O'Dole if he can come in and expand on some of the youth programs that the Urban League has to offer. I'm surprising him because I told him he wasn't going to need to speak. So I owe him lunch now.
And while he is approaching the podium, I do have the brochure here. And the areas of service include education and youth development, workforce and economic planning, health and quality of life, civic engagement, and advocacy. And so those are just some of the highlights here that are offered, and I'll turn it over to you.
Concerning the youth, our Project Ready program is an academic program. We're a historical civil rights organization, so all the things that you're concerned with in terms of keeping kids off the street, our goal is to educate youth, to prepare them for college. I would encourage you to check out our website, sdo.org. In addition to just the programming for the youth, we are also offering homebuyer educational courses here, financial literacy, basic money management, things that are going to help propel people to higher levels of life.
I'm so
You're
sorry,
saying,
sir, if you could stand behind the podium and speak, no, stand behind and speak directly to the council.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
thank you.
Okay, so, but at any rate, you're saying it's for free. Those services cost quite a bit. What we're offering, I didn't really put a dollar value on that. I felt that this was a proposition that was very, very important. We are trying to establish a base out in the East County to provide these services. For many of the residents here that don't leave the confines of the city, we're coming to you. We're meeting you where you're at. So I would say to give it an opportunity before having reservation about something being offered at no cost. I mean, the Urban League's not going to be here every day taking up the recreation center. But I'm willing to answer any of the questions about our mission, why we're here, why I'm here for the city council, for the mayor, or for any of the citizens that are here.
Thank you so very much. What I'll do is I'll check in with our elected officials, and if you could stand there, there may be some questions for you. I'll start with Councilmember here.
Thank you. It's Abdel?
Abdallah.
Oh, Abdallah. Thank you,
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah. I guess an initial question I have is, how were you introduced to Lemon Grove? What is it that brought you here? Or who introduced you to Lemon Grove? How did this partnership, how did you get entry to speaking with the mayor, council members, or our city manager?
Well, I've, lived in San Diego for 27 years, so I'm familiar with Lemon Grove. One of our young professionals lives in Lemon Grove. Known there for several years. Spoken in events with the mayor. But it just was an organic type of relationship where we discussed the possibilities of bringing programming here. We actually came in and met with the mayor and the city manager to discuss ways to assist with real estate development and business development, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it just kind of morphed into this. It was very organic, nothing planned.
Yeah.
But again, it's not my mission to go out and offer my services or the service of the organization to municipalities. That's really not what we do. But we felt that there was a natural alignment with Lemon Grove since, you know, the demographics of the city are changing. You know, again, we're a civil rights organization. Our services are marketed to individuals that are underserved and underrepresented Black and brown populations. And that mirrors the demographics of your city. And we were also told that, you know, many of the residents here don't leave the confines of the city to go out and receive services. So we offer a full plethora of services, and we're bringing services to your residents. So we thought this was a win-win.
Well, thank you for clarifying. So as I understand it, the mayor made the introduction to the city, and you've had conversations with the mayor and sat down with the city manager to talk about stuff, obviously prior to today, because I've never met you, but it's a pleasure meeting you, Mr. Abdullah. Thank you for clarifying that.
Councilmember Gaston?
Well, I'm not sure if I have a question. I know the Urban League has quite an excellent reputation in San Diego. Maybe my question would be, if we view this as a pilot, what do you see as the long-range potential for working in a community like Lemon Grove?
I'd say ideally would be to establish an Urban League East, utilize other facilities to have a permanent presence. Where we're now located in City Heights, but I think this would be a possibility to have staff that are here in the city, housed here, providing services to your residents. So again, coming to you, you don't have to come to me. This will be the first of its kind, so we don't do this anywhere else.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Mendoza?
I guess my question is, like, one thing, you know, I'm raising a granddaughter, although she's 18 now in college, but she attended Lemon Grove schools. And one thing that, you know, parents look for is school gets out, parents work, and where do the kids end up, you know, after school? She ended up in the library a lot, but that's the kind of kid she is. But not all kids end up in the library. Do you envision bringing any type of an after-school program to Lemon Grove, where kids could receive mentoring, homework assistance? Is that a type of program that I guess I'm just trying to get an idea of what type of program you would bring and how much time you envision that you would be giving the community.
Well, the Project Ready program that currently we take youth that really from 8th grade to 12th grade, let's say 9th to 12th. But if you are a high functioning youth, we've had some youth in the program in the 6th grade. And there are mentors in that program. And the goal is to prepare these youth for college. Now, not all of them will make it, right? But we have a very high matriculation rate. 100% of those youth, you know, will graduate from high school. 90% of them matriculate and graduate from college. So it's a great program, great mentors from all walks, all industries. So the goal is to expose these youth to also non-traditional industries. Not just maybe you may be a kid who, I want to be an engineer, great. But what about working for Honda and being an auto technician? We introduced that path to youth as well. Now, we don't offer sports programming. That's not what we do. This falls under our educational pillar. There are many other programs out there that where you can, have access to sports and that sort of thing. But we're here to help to raise GPAs, get you prepared to do better academically.
So,
It-
so you're working, then do you contact, the schools and work with children who are already
Yes.
in the school? I'm
We-
just trying to get an idea of how the Project Ready program works.
Okay. Yeah, I can go into that, but I would also encourage, and I sent a lot of material over to your leadership to kind of, take a look at it, but the Project Ready runs, we run it year-round. Once a month, the kids come in. Right now, we have 53 youth in the program. Our goal is to grow it here, to expand. So to bring in maybe youth that we've seen over here that are just skating and kind of hanging out, bring them into the confines of Project Ready. We have the funding to do that through foundations, and this would be a great spot to do that. So, we have 53 now, but it could easily be 100. I mean, again, if you have a captive audience of youth because not every kid's going to be a sports kid. You may have some kids who are true academic kids. This would be a great program for those youth. Going to college campuses, being able to go to a community college and enroll and get college credit early while you're in high school. We do all of these things. And I'd be more than happy to, if you wanted to reach out to me and talk to me about the program, come to the Urban League and have some one-on-one time with me, that'd be fine as well. To go over all of our programs, all of our pillars, our advocacy, education, health and wellness, workforce, housing. We're busy over there, very busy, doing a lot of good work.
Thank you so very much. Mayor Pro Tem Jones?
Thank you for the information, and thank you for considering Lemon Grove. I'm not sure you're aware of the demographics here, but we have a Hispanic majority, and we, as a percentage of population, we have the highest African American population in the county, by double of the next one closest to us. So these are important programs. Certainly, not everyone is going to become a professional athlete. So your program really does, reach out and provide more potential for you. Having been on the school board, it's always been a concern to reach out to those underserved kids of mine and finding ways of doing that. It's not easy, because I don't appreciate the choir here, but it's nice to have your program here and operating in the city, and you certainly have my utmost support in that. In terms of how the recreation recreation areas are going to be used, since you don't do sports, so that still leaves a lot of fields open and a gymnasium open, for other things that we might want to do there. And we have had that conversation with staff, and we do a joint meeting with the school board last year. We asked both staff here at the city and at the school board to look for ways to find those programs and find money for it. Because money is always the issue, and paying for it is, you're aware, your staff isn't free. So the word free is really not appropriate in talking about this program. So I threw that right out of my mind, and I already know the value of what you're providing here, especially having been on the school board and understanding that whole underserved issue that exists everywhere. So I just want to say thank you for what you do. Thank you for considering Lemon Grove, and I think it will be a success. I truly believe that. So.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I did want to ask for a little clarity here regarding what facilities will be used should this particular agenda item get approved.
Madam Mayor, both facilities. So in some programming, it'll be here at the community center when it's available. In some programming, it'll be at the recreation center when it's available. So we're really going to be working with the Urban League to try and schedule, say, for example, the vaccination outreach. That will be in this center because it's set up for a good vaccination clinic. Project Ready probably would be very good to utilize some of the rooms that we have in the recreation center, and it's closer to school to utilize those programs. And the fact that we have a long-term rental during the day, they'll usually need Project Ready. So it'll be both entities.
Madam Mayor, can I request to make a point of
Thank you so very
clarification?
much. Councilmember LeBaron, you're out of order. You're,
I'm asking to make a
this is
point of
my
clarification.
time to ask questions. There will be another round, and,
Ma'am, per policies and procedures, a council member is allowed to ask to make a point of clarification. And actually, Councilmember Jerry Jones has done it many times before, and you've granted it. Would you do the same for me, Madam Mayor?
I'm currently asking questions. You have interrupted me. I'm asking you to be respectful of the presiding officer, and you are not being respectful. You are out of control, and that is not what we're here for. So please respect the presiding officer. I have one more question to ask. Thank you. So, will there be, as this is a pilot project, once the year is complete, will there be an opportunity for us to take a look at the impact of the program, and how will the information be provided to us regarding the impact that could be made through your program?
Yeah, I think this should never be metrics driven. Everything we do currently is for me, it's about results. You know, at the end of 12 months, I would actually anticipate even mid-year, how's this working out? You know, are we providing the services we say we're gonna provide? I'm putting the Urban League's reputation on the line, saying we're gonna come here, we're going to deliver results. The same way I would do with any funder, with any foundation. If they were to, hey, we're going to provide, you know, funding for, say, a home buyer initiative, they're gonna want reports at mid-year, like, well, what have you done with that money? And I have to answer that, so I'll be answering to all of you in terms of what are the results that have been derived from this partnership. And if after 12 months, hey, you know, we're not, this is not doing so well, obviously we have the right to terminate it, but I seriously doubt that's going to happen. I know we're going to deliver. Your kids are going to love us. You're going to love us too. That's what I do.
Mayor Vasquez, I'd
Thank
like
you
to
so very
request
much.
to make
At
a
this
point of
point in
clarification.
time, what I'd like to do is a second round here. And so I'll start with Councilmember LeBaron.
Thank you, Mayor Vasquez. I'm actually going to make a point of clarification, and that is that when we're referring to what the city is going to be, and actually what the taxpayers are going to be giving to this organization, we need to make sure that we're being thorough and truthful in what we're saying. And the totality of what the taxpayers are going to be granting to this organization is that we're going to be giving them paid utilities, or taxpayer paid utilities, and I'm just saying these are the facts. Now, whether the public agrees with this or not, that's another story, but I just think that you mentioned some facilities that were gonna be granted to this organization, and as a point of clarification, I just wanted to elaborate further in saying that not only are we gonna be granting use of the rec center, something that community members have repeatedly begged city council to please allow them to use as well, but we're also gonna be giving access to this building where we're sitting here today, and we're also going to be giving office space at the senior center to this organization, and we're also going to be paying for all the utilities for all of this, and all the janitorial services for all of this. So that was just my point of clarification. Now, moving on to questions, correct? Are we deliberating?
This is our second round, and so if you have a question during your second round, you can ask a maximum of 2 questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let's see, give me 1 second. I guess this question would be not for Mr. Abdullah. Thank you, you've been very helpful. You already clarified a couple things. The introduction came to you from one elected official. You've already had meetings with that elected official, which is the mayor and the city manager. So then, and then they both agreed to agendize this and give you this immense opportunity, and that's great. My question is for Lydia. Are we following the same procedures when other organizations are also asking to be agendized and are also asking for equal opportunities? Because I noticed that this was something that was solely put on by the mayor, and you, it seems behind closed doors, and I know that community members, many organizations ask for the same things, concessions that we're granting to this organization. Are we following what procedures are we following for that? What guidelines are we following for that? And how we're,
Councilmember LeBaron, first let me clarify.
Yeah.
The senior center office space will be put on hold until we actually get some metrics, as Mr. Abdul was talking about.
Lydia, that's
Second
not
of
what
all-
the staff report says, actually. I just want to, so point of clarification here is that your staff report doesn't say what you just said.
So second of all, this item was brought forth as a priority of the city council to look at partnerships to bring in programs to fill a void or complement that we don't have.
Yes, but to
And we're
clarify, none of these council members brought this organization forth. There was actually an executive decision made by the mayor and yourself.
Actually, it was not an executive decision by the mayor. It was an organic partnership in which we had, myself and Mr. Odell had a conversation about bringing types of programs to East County. He expressed an interest in entering East County. I expressed an interest in bringing.
And I understand our desire to want to work with different organizations, but what I'm trying to point out is how is it that we're selecting specific organizations when a certain politician brings up, makes these introductions, how we're picking what organizations we're choosing to partner with.
And
Because
Council,
I love partnering with organizations. I just want to make sure that we're not seeming like there's something wrong or that there's any impropriety or political favoritism or any of that going on, because that certainly would feed into the public not trusting their local government.
and Councilmember LeBaron, that is why it is before the council tonight to either vote in favor of it or vote against it.
So back to the question, what processes are you following to select what organizations you give these opportunities
I
to
think
and not?
that we are well beyond our 2 questions.
No, that was one question that she has
And
not
so
answered.
with
She
that
actually
said-
went in circles and didn't answer that
I
one
said,
question.
I'm going to move on to Councilmember.
Ma'am, why are you preventing me from doing the city's business? I'm asking a question and asking that the city manager, who's responsible, respond. Are you in support of preventing me from doing my job as a council member to get down to the bottom of
And
things?
your questions have been answered.
No, the
I'll
mayor,
turn this over to Councilmember Gaston. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, she never answered my question. Lydia, again, the question is, how is it, what process are you using for how you're selecting what organizations get this opportunity on taxpayer dollars?
The council member is speaking when not recognized.
Madam Mayor, you're preventing me from getting the answer to a very, very simple question. You realize that this is being recorded, correct?
She's being rude, disparaging, and she's operating off of personal attacks. So at this time, we're going to take another 5-minute break due to the ill behavior of Councilmember LeBaron. Thank you.
You know, oftentimes when what people are gonna say isn't gonna be flattering, they do what's called talking in circles. Talking too much, never getting to the question that's actually being asked. I'm kind of a master at detecting when people are talking in circles and not answering questions. So when we resume, I'm gonna be adamant in wanting an answer to the very simple question that I raised.
Madam Mayor, this is a violent violation that's going on right now. Can you please?
Sir. Hi. How you doing?
Resume our council meeting, and so I'll turn it back over to Councilmember Gaston.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to persist in my question being answered because it was never answered. so-
Councilmember LeBaron, you're out of order.
Ma'am, do you realize that you're in violation of our policies and procedures with not letting a council member ask their 2 questions and receive adequate answer. And actually, not only did I not receive adequate answer, I didn't receive an answer, period.
Councilmember
What is your reason for not allowing me to ask my questions as granted to me per the policies and procedures that were voted in 2021?
Councilmember LeBaron, you're.
Ma'am, my question remains, what is it that gives you the authority to stop a council member from asking their 2 questions?
I'll turn this over to Councilmember Gasper. Thank you.
Ma'am, I did not receive an answer to my question.
Councilmember LeBaron, you're out of order. I'll turn this over to Councilmember.
No, ma'am, you are in violation of our policies and procedures. Per our Lemon Grove policies and procedures, a council member has the ability to ask 2
We will
questions.
take another.
I asked
5-minute
one
break. Thank
question
you.
and I was not allowed to get an answer because you interrupted me, which is in direct violation of the Lemon Grove Municipal Code and the policies and procedures that we have adopted as of 2021. My question remains to you, Madam Mayor. What is it that allows you to break the policies and procedures that were voted into effect last year?
The mayor is the presiding officer, it is her prerogative.
So Councilmember Jerry Jones just stated that it's the prerogative of the mayor to violate the policies and procedures. I just want to let all of us know that he said that because I find that to be something that's extremely odd. Policies and procedures are put into place for a reason, and as all the 4 of you harp on, these policies and procedures were meant to keep order. I'm being adamant in that we actually follow the policies and procedures, allow me to ask my 2 questions, and allow me to receive the answers to those 2 questions. But for some reason, you're determined to not let me get answers to simple questions.
Approval.
I move that we accept staff's recommendations and approve the contract.
Do we have a second?
Your council members are voting to break the policies and procedures, not allow the city manager to answer my question that has to do with business practices and how tax dollars are being spent.
Aye. Councilmember Gaskell?
Aye.
Councilmember LeBaron?
Councilmember LeBaron, thankfully, we have lots of media present. Thankfully, there's lots of people present. Thankfully, they're able to see exactly what's happening. I'm asking a very simple question that has to do with business practices. And your council colleague, my council colleagues are determined to stop that.
Do you vote yes or no? That's all we need to know.
My vote is no.
Mayor
Yes,
Vasquez?
no.
Yes. Yes.
4-1 to approve adopting a resolution with, for a lease agreement with the Urban League of San Diego County.
Thank you so very much.
Wait, hold on, that was the motion actually, wasn't it, to close the hearing?
To approve the
Wow.
application for local assistance specified grant. And so I'll turn this over to Mike James, Assistant City Manager and Public Works Director, to present the staff report.
As a point of order, I just want to say that that is completely unacceptable what just happened. And actually, there's multiple,
Councilmember LeBaron is out of control and she's out of order and she's wasting our time.
okay.
She's wasting city time and she's wasting your time. And so if you cannot control yourself, then we are going to have to adjourn this.
I'm just completely appalled at the extent that we have 4 politicians who are determined to break policies and procedures, to keep the public in the dark as though they're ignorant and don't deserve to know what's going on in their city. I'm just utterly appalled. Completely appalled by your behavior, but I'm very thankful that there's media here present so that everybody can see with their own 2 eyes.
This meeting will be adjourned until a date specified. Thank you.
Mayor Vasquez? You have to identify the date upon which the meeting will be continued to, please, and time.
Yes, absolutely. This meeting will be adjourned until Thursday, February 17th at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Wow.
Back in the 11 rows here.